What if the world's most beloved Irish mother was hiding a secret that almost ended her career? Brendan O'Carroll has spent decades making millions of us laugh, but behind the scenes, a bitter legal battle with his own cast was threatening to destroy his comedy empire from the inside out. Today, we reveal the lawsuit he never wanted you to see. For years, Mrs. Brown's Boys has been a cornerstone of television, a warm, chaotic, and deeply comforting show that felt like sitting in a real family kitchen. But as we are about to find out, when the cameras stopped rolling, that cozy family kitchen turned into a highly litigious battlefield where loyalty was traded for contract disputes, and decades of friendship evaporated in an instant. To understand how things got so dark, we have to look at the sheer scale of the Mrs. Brown's Boys empire. This isn't just any television show. It is an absolute juggernaut of British and Irish broadcasting. Since its television debut in 2011, the sitcom has dominated ratings, particularly during the festive season. Winning BAFTAs, filling massive arenas for live tour, and securing guaranteed Christmas broadcast slots until 2026, Brendan O'Carroll created a goldmine. But the secret sauce of the show was always its authenticity. Unlike other comedies where actors merely play roles, the cast of Mrs. Brown's Boys is quite literally a family. Brendan plays the matriarch Agnes. His real-life wife, Jennifer Gibney, plays his daughter, Kathy. His actual daughter, Fiona, plays Maria. His son, Danny, plays Buster. His sister, Eilish, plays Winnie. When viewers watched the show, they felt they were witnessing genuine familial love, mistake-filled ad-libs, and a unique, tight-knit bond. This wholesome dynamic was the primary marketing tool and the emotional heart of the entire brand. But operating a multi-million-pound business as a family dynasty comes with an incredibly high risk. When the boundaries between family love and corporate employment are completely erased, who protects the actors who are not part of the biological bloodline? What happens to the outsiders who help build the empire but don't share the O'Carroll surname? This is where the wholesome illusion begins to shatter, revealing a high-stakes corporate machine that operates with ruthless efficiency. Enter Gary Hollywood, the Scottish actor who played Dino Doyle, the charming, flamboyant hairdresser who was a staple of the show for nearly 20 years. Gary wasn't just a late addition. He had been with Brendan since the early, gritty days of the touring stage plays, long before the BBC came knocking with multi-million-pound contracts. To Gary, Brendan O'Carroll wasn't just an employer. He was a mentor, a father figure, someone he trusted implicitly. But in late 2020, as the world was navigating the pressures of the pandemic, Gary made a devastating discovery. While reviewing the financial details for the popular spin-off talk show, All Round to Mrs. Brown's, Gary realized he was being paid significantly less than his co-stars. According to legal documents later filed, Gary was receiving a staggering 25% less pay for his contributions to the show than other key cast members. But here is the shocking twist that threatened to blow this whole case wide open and send shockwaves through the television industry. Right when Gary was preparing to expose the BBC and Brendan's entire financial structure in open court, a sudden, dramatic pivot occurred that left everyone stunned. He didn't just walk away. He was faced with an absolute ultimatum that threatened to blackball him from the entertainment industry forever. Why would a 20-year veteran of the show, who had accused his mentor of systemic pay discrimination and bullying, suddenly drop a high-profile, slam-dunk tribunal case without receiving a single penny in court-mandated compensation? The hidden pressure applied behind closed doors reveals a terrifying reality about how the entertainment industry handles those who dare to speak out. For Gary, discovering the pay gap was only the beginning of a rapid and painful descent. When he attempted to address the issue quietly with production bosses, expecting the warm, familial understanding that the show's public persona promised, he was met with a cold shoulder. Instead of a resolution, the situation escalated rapidly. When Gary continued to ask questions about why he was being paid 25% less than others on set, he was suddenly and inexplicably cut from the upcoming, highly lucrative Christmas and New Year specials. The manner of his dismissal was perhaps the most painful part of all. There was no gentle phone call, no face-to-face meeting to discuss the situation. Instead, Gary claimed he was notified of his removal from the festive episodes via a single, unceremonious text message from Brendan O'Carroll himself. Devastated and feeling completely marginalized, Gary made the difficult decision to walk away from the show entirely, describing the atmosphere behind the scenes as murky and comparing the split to a painful, bitter divorce. He felt bullied, discarded, and deeply hurt by the people he had considered his second family. To understand why this lawsuit evaporated, and why the power dynamics are so heavily skewed in Brendan O'Carroll's favor, we have to look at the harsh, counterintuitive reality of working within a family-run creative monopoly. In a standard television production, actors are protected by standard union contracts, human resource departments, and independent production companies that must adhere to strict corporate governance. But Mrs. Brown's Boys is operated as a private fiefdom. Brendan O'Carroll is not just the star. He is the writer, the director, the creator, and the owner of the production company, BOC Picks. This means he holds absolute, unilateral power. If you cross the boss, you are not just crossing your employer, you are crossing the patriarch of the entire cast. For an independent actor like Gary Hollywood, or indeed anyone else outside the immediate O'Carroll family tree, this creates an incredibly hostile and isolating environment. If you speak up about pay disparity, you aren't just negotiating with a producer. You are accusing your co-star's father, husband, or brother of being unfair. The moment a dispute arises, the entire cast naturally circles the wagons to protect the family leader. The non-family actors are instantly cast out into the cold, facing not just a loss of income, but the complete destruction of their social and professional support network. This structure ensures that any dissent is viewed not as a professional negotiation, but as a personal attack on the family. It is a brilliant, if highly ruthless, system of control that makes challenging the status quo almost impossible for those on the outside. Let's look at the technical and legal reality of the tribunal itself to understand why dropping the case was Gary's only real option. In January 2021, Gary lodged papers with an employment tribunal, formally accusing Brendan O'Carroll, the BBC, and Hungry Bear Media of constructive dismissal and workplace discrimination. An employment tribunal in the United Kingdom is a formal legal body that operates much like a court. For Gary, this was a massive risk. Unlike civil courts where details can often be kept confidential, employment tribunals are highly public. A full hearing would have required the production company to disclose its entire payroll, exposing exactly how much Brendan O'Carroll and his family members were earning compared to the rest of the cast. While this threatened to cause a public relations disaster for the BBC and O'Carroll, the financial and emotional toll on Gary was immense. Legal battles of this scale are incredibly expensive, often costing tens of thousands of pounds in legal fees that an individual actor must pay out of pocket, while a major broadcaster like the BBC and a multimillionaire like O'Carroll have virtually unlimited legal resources. Furthermore, the psychological pressure of being blacklisted in the tight-knit UK television industry is a terrifying prospect for any working actor. By June 2021, during a preliminary hearing, Gary withdrew all of his claims. Officially, the lawsuit was dropped with no admission of liability and no payout, but the message was sent loud and clear. Challenging the matriarch of the Mrs. Brown's empire comes with a cost that few can afford to pay. This dramatic fallout with Gary Hollywood is not an isolated incident. In fact, it is part of a repeating pattern of sudden, quiet departures that suggest the cozy atmosphere of Mrs. Brown's Boys is highly conditional. Take Rory Cowan, who played Agnes's son Rory Brown for years. He was one of the most popular characters on the show, but he abruptly quit in 2017, citing a desire to move on, though rumors of behind-the-scenes unhappiness persisted. He was replaced by Damian McKiernan, who in turn was also eventually phased out of the show amidst reports of his own pay disputes and unhappiness with his screen time. These rapid cast exits reveal a systemic issue within the production. When actors begin to feel that they are merely props in the Brendan O'Carroll family show, rather than valued creative partners, the illusion of the happy family disintegrates. This tension exploded into the public eye once again in late 2024, when production on the Christmas specials had to be temporarily halted. The reason? Brendan O'Carroll had made a highly offensive, clumsy joke during a script read-through that triggered a formal BBC investigation into racial remarks. While O'Carroll quickly issued a public apology and the show resumed filming, the incident highlighted just how fragile the empire is and how the erratic behavior of its creator continues to threaten the livelihoods of everyone involved. Ultimately, the story of the lawsuit Brendan O'Carroll hid is a cautionary tale about the dark side of a beloved public persona. Behind the flowery cardigans, the foul-mouthed maternal warmth, and the family-friendly slapstick lies a highly controlled, high-stakes corporate machine that does not hesitate to cut ties with anyone who questions its authority. Gary Hollywood's departure and subsequent legal battle exposed the deep fractures in the Mrs. Brown's Boys family, showing that when the laughter stops, the business of comedy is incredibly serious, and sometimes incredibly cold. But the drama doesn't end here. The secrets of the British television industry run far deeper than just one sitcom. To understand how another massive TV empire crumbled under the weight of secret feuds, toxic work environments, and hidden payouts, click on the video on your screen right now. We are diving deep into the untold story of yet another beloved host whose career vanished overnight.